Hello viewers, Marianne from Revealing Light Tarot. How are we all today, wherever you are in the world when you're watching? A huge shout out to you. It's Saturday afternoon. I actually had this reading planned for the morning and I got sidetracked with phone calls and other things that I wasn't necessarily expecting. So here I am back at my desk in the late afternoon. I wanted to look at some viewers' requests, and this one is on ascension. It's a question that I've actually tackled before. My idea of ascension is that we don't just somehow ascend and the world splits off and we ascend upward while those that are unworthy stay on the earth. I don't think that's it at all. My idea of ascension is that we simply move more into vibrating, acting, reacting, living from a higher self perspective. That's my idea of ascension. And the question is, one of the viewers has asked, what are the side effects or the symptoms, the physical manifestations of ascension? And again, this question is interesting because we've been told by so many that this ascension would be moving to the higher plane, and many were expecting that to happen, particularly with the Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius, or the age of Aquarius. I would argue that we have, or that we are already ascending. And so what the age of Aquarius, what ascension means to me, and what it's always meant to me, is that we live a more spiritual life. There are those of us who become aware enough that we deepen our spiritual connections and we live more spiritually. That is what ascension means to me. So what does that look like, I guess, is the question at hand. For me, I can't speak what it would look like for you, because your spirituality will be different, or your connection with spirit will be different from mine. But for me, living a more spiritual life is noticing spirit manifest around me. It is being able to see energy, those light orbs, being able to see those, having those around me, being closer, I think, to the to other dimensions or to higher dimensions. Vibrating, my frequency or vibration is stronger. And so what does that feel like physically? I don't feel any differently to what I would normally feel physically. I still have an earthly body. But in terms of my psychic sense is keener. And so I am able to see not only physical manifestations of spirit, whether that be light, energy around other people and around in my atmosphere, almost like the air is charged, if you can imagine it being charged, highly charged. I see that kind of energy in the air around me. In certain people, not everybody, I can see those white orbs that you see in these videos. I can see them around certain people. I become more clairvoyant in terms of seeing certain images unfold, knowing certain things, particularly where those matters are very, very important. So I will know that what a loved one is contemplating, and I somehow understand what it is, that the direction that I need to go. So there's a strong intuition which becomes more on target the higher that my vibration is. I become more correct about certain intuitive knowledge about, it's not just about other people, it's about situations. So again, if you can think of coming from the perspective of your higher self, it's a deeper understanding about what is playing out and why in my own personal life. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm suddenly living on a higher plane. No, I have the same frailties and the same physical, I was going to say handicaps, but physical manifestations in this earthly body that I've always had. But I'm simply living a deeper and a stronger spiritual existence. And so I would say that from where I was, maybe even 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I am living a more ascended life. So that's my idea of ascension and what it feels like, and that will feel differently depending on who you're speaking to. But the one thing that we have in common is this connection to spirit. So what I wanted to do today, that being said, I just want to have a look at what ascension is through the cards. I'm going to use my Mystical Shaman Oracle, and then I'll move to this tarot, the Kabbalistic Tarot, which brings in so many elements from astrology onwards. Astrology and obviously the Tree of Life. So let's just have a look through, firstly, the Mystical Shaman Oracle. What is ascension? And then how can we achieve it? So what is ascension through these cards? What is ascension? What is ascension? And it is happiness, I guess. The ultimate goal is happiness, having our own happiness speak to us instead of our own negativity speaking to us. What is happiness? I was going to say, what is happiness? Maybe that's it. Ascension is happiness. What is happiness? Okay, so the Gatherer. The Gatherer. Number 21. So the number 2 is partnerships. Number 1 is the individual. Number 3 is spiritual solutions. But the 2 is coming first here. So in a way, what this says to me is that we are able to be above those situations, particularly with other people, because that's how we learn. We are able to have a higher vantage point, and so we don't fall into those same traps that snag us. In other words, we're gathering always what we need to us, and we're not being sidetracked in any way. And we're doing that through a deeper spiritual connection. 19, and this is, if I was to say what is happiness, what is ascension, this is a unity between the base and the sacral chakras. It's a merging. It's an ascension from the fear and insecurity that often impacts or is a sign or is a product of learning the lessons in this lifetime. And the sacral chakra is confidence and self-expression and our own uniqueness, our own sexuality, our own, when I say sexuality, it's that's not the right word. It's our essence of who we are. It's somehow being, I guess, resolute in that knowledge, not being deterred and not allowing anyone else to deter us either. And of course, what does fire do? It cleanses. It cleanses, so the lessons of, we seem to be able to move through or have moved through, reached a place in our learning where we've moved through some of those lessons that we needed to learn. And this is around the heart chakra. The heart chakra, because I see a heart here. I get the feeling of love of divine love, but also inspiration and passion and will and drive, all those things that fire does. When our heart is like that. So ascension being that we've learnt the lessons, we're not being dragged back into those same old patterns. And someone's just telling me that as human beings we'll always be drawn back. But it's just how much and for how long. And so how long our happiness evades us. So ascension coming back to being happy. And the corn being abundant. Because when there's happiness, there is abundance. And we don't want for anything. And this is 10. So ending old cycles and beginning new ones. So to me, ascension again is, I come back to the where I started, to the beginning, and that is knowing yourself, know thyself, which I think is the Oracle of Delphi. Know thyself. I think that's where we start. At the base of the pack, not only knowing yourself, but you're needing that awareness. So ascension being an expansion of awareness, being the witness to the self as well. Looking in the mirror and seeing that clear reflection. And being able to see yourself as the divine sees you. As the light sees you. Okay, let's look at it through the Kabbalistic Tarot. And I'll ask, how can we achieve, given that we're always, it's not, nothing is linear. It's back and forth until we don't have to go back too much and we can speed up our process. How do we achieve ascension? How do we achieve ascension? How do we achieve ascension, please? So I'm getting the image of a bird in the cage, and of course that to me always symbolizes freedom, achieving freedom from the kinds of situations that hold us back, that cause us to close off that heart chakra and not embrace life and learning. To me, inspiration is almost like gladness. So how do we achieve ascension? How do we achieve ascension? Emotions, through the there's something around emotions, because I'm seeing a droplet of water being held in someone's hand, as almost as if it contains everything and what we absorb, etc. So how do we achieve? Well, how do we achieve ascension? Straight away I've got the devil. The devil, Capricorn, here as the signifier card. And this is straight away beauty. Isn't that interesting? That on the tree of life, it is moving from empathy, the Hod, to Tiferet, beauty. Empathy through to beauty, the beauty way, the way that we see things. Empathy is so important. Compassion, empathy, that's in the heart chakra. It's a really interesting card to to draw the devil, El Diablo. Number 15. The path toward beauty is rooted in empathy, being able to see something from another's point of view will transform. In the tarot, the devil means toxicity, being chained to something. An interesting card to pull there. What have I got next? Decisions, Jupiter and Capricorn, the Two of Pentacles. What choices we make. The Two of Coins. Jupiter, expansion, Capricorn. Jupiter in Capricorn. That's where we've just come from. Choices. This is interesting for me while I'm pulling these cards. So I'm going to bring the laptop down so you can see. We have just come from this position. The challenge. The choices that we make. The devil. And the Two of Coins. What do we choose? What do we choose? At the foundation of the reading, we have the Judgment card, which is double tens. And that is empathy. And being able to let something go. Inevitable endings and new beginnings. Judgment. Being able to let something go. Fire energy. Fire energy. Empathy. Moving from empathy. Empathy, which is the Hod, down to Malkut, sovereignty. Wow. Thank you. These are all the things, I might add, viewers, that I have in my own personal life that I've been mulling over in 2020, or that I've been learning, that I've been forced to the table with in 2020. Judgment, letting things go, being able to suspend judgment and move forward. We're talking, how do we achieve ascension? In the past, we have the Eight of Coins, which is Hod, which is empathy. That's in the past. And that is Scorpio, the sun in Virgo, the sun in Virgo. Wow, the Eight of Coins, sun in Virgo. Mastery, the mastery of something. When we can see what is behind us, what's no longer serving us, and we see it in great detail, hence that Virgo energy. It's illuminated, the sun. And we leave it behind, and we move. In the tarot, it's illustrated by light. We leave the darkness behind and we move toward the light. So ascension is within us. It's not without us. It is within us on this earth, moving into our higher self. Crowning this reading is sovereignty, Malkut. Sovereignty. The Ten of Cups, unconditional love. So viewers, it's a way to live in this life is to ascend. Love, unconditional love. Mars in Pisces. Mars in Pisces. Again, driving forward from the higher self. So intuition, these higher crown chakras connecting with spirit, but not devoid or not divorced from the lower realms, just understanding and being aware of those lower realms. In the near future, we have the Chariot. So there's a quickening that comes when you achieve that, the Chariot. and that is loving kindness. Loving kindness. So now we see, on the ashrams, we see those that, the ascended masters, for example. So you start to move toward loving kindness. And I suspect, just as you're able to project or emanate loving kindness, you will attract loving kindness to you. This is Cancer. This is the heart chakra. Again, where's that card? I keep looking for it. Because, I pulled the upper world. That was the next card out. The upper world. I should leave that there as our signifier card because this is the heart chakra. Strength. Moving toward strength, which is, if I could pronounce the Kabbalah, what is it? I've got my Tree of Life diagram here. Gevurah, moving towards strength. Okay, let's see what happens in the here and now, which is sort of like the current earth. King of Coins, Pentacles, moving beyond achieving success for monetary gains, for it's kind of superficial. But when you know the difference, you start to attract this manifesting energy to you. Wisdom. On the Tree of Life, moving always to here. And when you're up on this pathway here, your basis is sovereignty. Fire and earth. The environment around us, the Knight of Swords, living air on air. The beauty way. Beauty. Tiferet. Excuse my pronunciation. Cavalier is the, I don't have the French pronunciation, but you're carrying your own sword of truth here. You can see the truth in others. You can see very clearly. And so everything has meaning. Everything is, in a way, exquisite. So where are our hopes and fears? That we doubt ourselves, the King of Swords. We doubt our mastery. This is the human condition. Wisdom. It keeps us in check. It keeps us in check. And again, wisdom. So not so different here. And as I said, it's not a linear process. Life and learning and spirituality is not linear. We don't suddenly achieve great wisdom. It's something that needs to be mastered and to be worked at. And we've got the Two of Wands. We've got Mars in Aries. Chokmah. Again, wisdom. So, always wisdom and patience and understanding and knowing that our learning never stops. But nevertheless, moving forward in the right direction, clarifying that the Nine of Wands, Moon in Sagittarius, learning, Yesod, foundational work, understanding. As I said, even the great masters, ascended masters, even people like Gandhi understood the work that needed to be done always. It's not just achieving Shangri-La. It's achieving the wisdom to know that you must achieve a higher view. That's where the wisdom is. The base of the pack is the Knight of Cups. Again, beauty. The beauty way. The happiness that I talked about at the beginning. Okay, I'll leave that there. That was quite a channeling that came through those cards. I'm glad I used the cards that I did because even on the Tree of Life, you know, we can go in many situations. You know, we can be here, but we can move here because that's the human state, isn't it? But, you know, even when we fail, even when we make mistakes, there's something around being able to see that, even your own failures, from a higher view and apply all of that with self-love and unconditional love. That keeps that happiness preserved. So, as I said, I didn't intend to go that deep, but there you are. How do we achieve ascension? What is ascension and how do we achieve it? I think that's as close to an explanation as I can get. So, thank you all for tuning in. I will be back in a few days with another reading. In the meantime, stay well.